Hospital workers. What is the worst thing you've seen a patient go through? I was in my first year as a surgical resident when they brought her in. Middle-aged woman, unconscious, found in City Park at dawn, homeless. The EMTs said she'd been lying there for hours, maybe all night. When she arrived, she looked exactly like what you'd expect from a bad overdose. Severely underweight, skin burned from months of sleeping outside, infected track marks running up both arms like a road map of desperation. Her clothes were basically rags held together by dirt and hope. Toxicology came back positive for heroin, meth, and alcohol. Classic cocktail. We'd seen it 100 times before. Just another overdose. Another statistic we'd pump full of Narcan and send back to the streets within hours. But when she woke up, something was different. She wasn't angry or screaming or trying to rip out her IV like most overdose patients. She was calm, polite, almost eerily polite. She thanked the nurses for everything. When they brought her water, she apologized for bothering them. She asked if she could stay just for the night, even though medically she was completely stable. Dr. Walsh, the attending, told her no. Too many patients, not enough beds, standard protocol. When they told her she'd be discharged in 2 hours, she just nodded and smiled. Of course I understand. Thank you for taking such good care of me. Right before discharge, she made one last request. Could she possibly have a razor and a toothbrush, just to clean up before she left? The nurse thought it was sweet. Finally, someone who wanted to get their life together. She handed over a disposable razor and travel-sized toothbrush from the patient care packages. 20 minutes later, security was pounding on the bathroom door. She'd locked herself inside. When they broke it down, they found her sitting on the floor, bleeding from both wrists, crying quietly. Not sobbing or wailing, just tears streaming down her face like rain. "I just didn't want to die dirty," she whispered when they found her. That's when everything changed. Psychiatric hold, 72 hours minimum. And while she was under observation, we started digging into her background. Turns out her name was Rebecca, and 5 years earlier she'd been a nurse at Metropolitan General just 2 miles away. Her employee file had been heavily redacted, but we pieced together the story. She had a 7-year-old daughter named Katie. One night, Rebecca was working a double shift in the ICU when her apartment building caught fire. Faulty wiring in the basement. Katie was staying with a babysitter who fell asleep watching TV. Katie didn't make it out. Rebecca spiraled after that. Lost her nursing license after showing up to work drunk. Lost her apartment when she couldn't pay rent. Lost her mind somewhere along the way. She'd been living on the streets for 3 years. The drugs weren't recreational. They were medicinal, in her broken way of thinking. The only thing that made the pain stop long enough for her to sleep. But that night in the park, she'd had enough. She didn't want to die from an overdose in some dirty alley. She wanted to die with dignity, in a hospital, clean, safe, like the nurse she used to be. The psychiatric team worked with her for the full 72 hours. When her hold expired, something amazing happened. The entire ICU staff had pooled their money together. Tips from coffee runs, spare change from vending machines, even some people contributing their lunch money for weeks. They raised enough to pay for her first 60 days in a real rehabilitation program. Not some state-run facility, but an actual treatment center with counselors and therapy and hope. Last I heard, 6 months later, Rebecca had gotten clean. She'd enrolled in community college and was working toward becoming a peer counselor for other people struggling with addiction.